The zany relationship between the Venom symbiote and Eddie Brock in Venom was fun to watch, but what everyone really wants to see is the alien anti-hero take on Peter Parker. Or at least, that's what Sony Pictures thinks. And according to one of the movie's co-writers, that very meetup is in the cards right now. In the lead-up to Venom's theatrical release in October 2018, producers behind the movie played coy about whether or not it would be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Rumors were abundant that the movie would feature a cameo from Tom Holland's Spider-Man, or even just Holland as Peter Parker. Considering the reputation that the MCU has for consistent, crowd-pleasing quality, the confusion was to Venom's benefit. Some people still think the movie is part of the MCU, which, as we know now, it is not. Here's a breakdown of how it all works. When it comes to film rights, most of the Marvel Comics characters are owned by Marvel Studios, with the exception of the characters related to Spider-Man. According to Variety, Sony holds the rights to about 900 characters from the Spider-Man corner of the Marvel Comics universe. So if Sony owns Spider-Man, then why has Peter Parker been hanging out with the Avengers so much?
Kid, you're an Avenger now.
After the disappointing critical and commercial performance of Sony's Amazing Spider-Man 2, Sony and Marvel worked out something of a shared custody agreement for Spider-Man, giving Marvel creative rights to the character for a stretch of 5 movies. Those movies include Captain America: Civil War, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Avengers: Infinity War, Avengers: Endgame, and Spider-Man: Far From Home. As part of the agreement, Sony apparently gave up the right to produce their own live-action Spider-Man movies. But when Far From Home comes out, the deal will be done for, and Sony could then potentially take Spider-Man back for themselves. Now that Venom has proved to be a massive financial success, earning more than $850 million worldwide since its release, it's increasingly looking like Sony will be taking Spider-Man off Marvel's hands. In the Designing Venom special feature included in the home release of the Venom movie, co-writer Jeff Pinkner teased the likely possibility of a Venom Spider-Man crossover, going so far as to assert that Spider-Man already exists in Venom's universe. The topic was brought up as part of a discussion about fan outrage over the movie's redesign of Venom, with the white spider emblem across the character's chest being removed for the live-action adaptation. In the comics, Venom gets the spider emblem thanks to the symbiote first bonding with Peter Parker. But in this version of Venom's origin, the symbiote goes straight to Eddie Brock with no Spider-Man connection. As a result, Venom's chest in the movie is bare black.
In a movie where Spider-Man exists in the universe but does not exist in our story, it would make no sense.
But as Pinkner puts it, that aspect of the movie Venom's design could change if he and Spider-Man ever manage to encounter each other.
A future movie down the line that a symbiote and Spider-Man might not share a moment, and that symbiote might end up with the Spider-Man emblem splashed across his chest.
Speaking to Screen Rant before Venom's release, director Ruben Fleischer characterized the Spider-Man and Venom crossover as being a sure thing, eventually. He also said that the Spider-Man they would want to use for the crossover wouldn't be a new actor, but instead the current Peter Parker performer, Tom Holland. The filmmaker said, "I think we laid the groundwork in this film for a pretty fun matchup in the future. It feels like that's inevitable, and I know that Tom Holland's excited about it, and I know that Tom Hardy's excited about it, so it's just a question of when and where, I guess. That seems like the natural evolution." Sony has been laying track for a Spider-Man crossover since before Venom was released, reportedly toning the movie down for a PG-13 rating in order to make it easier for the two character stories to match up with each other. It remains to be seen how the filmmakers would go about making a crossover happen now that Venom's origin story is so different. In the comics, the symbiote was rejected by Peter before latching onto Eddie, who held his own grudges against Spider-Man. Their mutual hatred of Spider-Man made them a natural nemesis. And it's unclear how a crossover would reverse engineer that relationship. There's also the fact that Tom Hardy's Eddie is a grown man who lives in San Francisco, and Tom Holland's Peter is a high school student who lives in New York City. Also, the Venom in Venom is kind of a good guy. Why would he want to go beat up a high school kid? These issues make it harder to imagine how a team-up movie would actually work. But if the suits at Sony want it bad enough, it's probably going to happen. Especially since their take on Venom made so much money. Who cares about the story, right? There's money to be made.